When they finger paint, maybe have them use gloves or use mess-free finger painting with plastic bags. You could also use bingo markers. The vestibular sense is the sense of balance and movement. It also helps with upright posture. I know that classrooms do brain breaks, but did you know that school-age children need 4 to 5 hours of movement per day to meet their developing sensory nervous system's sensory needs? That's a hard recommendation to follow when students are in school much of that time. So it's important to have scheduled brain or sensory breaks, probably around every 25 to 30 minutes, because you want to incorporate these as part of a routine to prevent challenging behaviors. Brain breaks can be done individually or in a group, and they can take as little as 1 to 3 minutes. Research states that brain breaks improve concentration, relieve stress, help with alertness and focus, help with emotional regulation, undesirable behaviors, and sensory overload. Okay, those vestibular seekers, the ones that can't sit still or in constant motion, they're impulsive, they run, they bounce instead of walk, they rock or sway in their seat, and they enjoy to spin fast. But then you have those vestibular avoiders, the ones that are fearful around playground equipment, or they avoid stairs or swings, or they use 2 hands to walk up and down stairs, holding the rails. When thinking about providing movement in the classroom, it's important to know that rhythmic, slow movement is calming, and fast, unpredictable movement is alerting. Those students who have difficulty remaining seated, are fidgety, and appear to lose focus when sitting too long, you might have to provide some other movement opportunities besides the smart board brain breaks, such as Go Noodle. You might have to do just some simple desk stretches or silent waves. You might have them do head, shoulders, knees, and toes real quickly, or provide a water break. What I've used a lot is a pacing line being put in the back of a classroom. That's where you use tape of some sort, and you can make a straight line or a diagonal or curved line, and the students walk back and forth on that line instead of walking around the classroom. This can be used for older or for younger students. I've also encouraged a lot of learning stations to be used because that is just a natural way of movement. You're moving from station to station. Yoga is another good movement activity. There are so many of them, yoga poses for younger and older students. You can do ones on the floor, you can do them sitting, or you can do them standing. I've seen a lot of extension classrooms offer yoga to their students. The ones on the screen are some simple yoga poses that I like because they're calming and they provide vestibular and proprioceptive input. I like the forward bend the most because you can use this standing or sitting in the chair, and all the child does is bend over to touch their toes and remain in that position for a few seconds or minutes. There's the child's pose, the downward dog, as well as the triangle pose. All of those are very calming and are very easy to implement. Yoga is just such a powerful tool that can help students face the stressors of school, increase focus, decrease anxiety, provide sensory input, calming input, and can ground oneself. But it can also offer other benefits such as balance, strength, and core work that is needed to be successful at school. Allowing students to have classroom jobs provide movement too, and it can be just a natural part of the routine of the day. You could have students pass out papers or be a book passer. They could be, if you have plants in the classroom, they could be the ones that water the plants. They could be the calendar leader that stands up and helps with the calendar. They could be a board eraser or a recess helper. They could also be a teacher's assistant where you can have them do whatever job you want them to do, or a recycling monitor. Alternative seating is different types of seating equipment that supports a student's need to move. There are a lot of benefits to alternative seating versus the traditional seating. It gives a child a sense of control and choice on how they learn best. It provides them comfort. It provides movement, and it can provide the sensory input that they are seeking. With alternative seating, it's important to establish rules and guidelines. Start small and consider where you can get various different types of alternative seating, such as Donors Choose, the PTA. I've even emailed the school staff asking them, do you have any rocking chairs or beanbag chairs that you're not using anymore in your home? Can you bring them to the classroom? We need them for certain students. When you think about alternative seating, think about storage, and be sure to offer a variety of alternative seatings because, again, students learn differently. But they can be very simple. You can see at the bottom here, all you have to do is raise a table and have students stand. Or if your tables do not rise up, you can do a desk, or you can even, maybe there's a bookshelf in your classroom where the students can stand to do their work. Have them lay on their stomachs to read or do computer work, or even have a clipboard to complete a worksheet, or have them kneel at a desk that can be lowered. Other types of alternative seating, some students might like closed-in spaces. So have them get in a laundry basket. Or there's also seat concentration cushions up there in the left top corner of the slide, where it can be placed not only in a chair, but they can sit on it at circle time. If you don't have a seat concentration cushion, you can use a deflated beach ball, which is shown on the right-hand side of the screen. For those kids that like to move, rocking chairs or the scooper rockers that are on the right-hand side are very popular types of alternative seating. And then you might have a student that just wants to sit regularly on the carpet and maybe put a desk tray for them to complete their work. Here are more alternative seating. There's stadium seating, or there's the Howdy Hug seats that are at the bottom middle of the screen. Yoga balls are very popular. I know some teachers are against yoga balls because they tend to roll around. Well, you can put them inside of a crate, and that might be helpful. There's the bungee chairs or the hokey stools, which I love the hokey stools. I've seen them in libraries as well as in classrooms. Or a simple way of creating your own alternative seating is take 2 tennis balls and put them on the chair legs opposite, and it creates a rocking motion. And lastly, there is the TheraBand up at the top, which I showed you earlier with the bouncy bands. Some students might like a video rocker, especially the older students. There's also camp chairs and rocking chairs that are for older students. The ones that are in the middle, the beanbag chair and the Big Joe, these provide a lot of proprioceptive input. They provide a lot of deep pressure. And these are ones that maybe the students that need to relax and calm down versus maybe a video rocker that is going to provide movement for those students that like to move around and can't sit still. Proprioceptive input, again, this is the sense that involves our muscles and joints. It helps us understand where our bodies are in relation to